Everyone's talking about Nano Banana and how you can turn your photos into product shots or change backgrounds with a simple prompt. Here's the thing nobody's really talking about. These basic prompts work great when you're playing around. But what happens when you're running an actual business? What happens when you have 50 products that all need to look like they belong to the same brand? Suddenly, those simple prompts stop working. Your images look different. The lighting changes, the style shifts, and you're sitting there wondering why your product catalog looks like it was made by 5 different photographers who never talk to each other. Today, we're going beyond the basics. We're talking about using Nano Banana at scale for real professional work. And I'll show you exactly how to get consistent results even when you're creating hundreds of images. The foundation. If you've watched any Nano Banana tutorials, you've probably seen this formula. Subject plus action plus environment plus art style plus lighting plus details. So instead of saying product on table, you'd say stainless steel water bottle standing upright on marble countertop, studio photography, soft diffuse lighting from left, clean minimalist aesthetic. This works, but only for one-off images. Because when you're working at scale, these prompts become your enemy. You have 5 different products. You use that formula for each one. Product 1 gets cool blue tones. Product 2 gets golden hour lighting. Product 3 is suddenly shot from a completely different angle. Your brand looks messy, and you're stuck regenerating images over and over, hoping the AI randomly gives you something consistent. The real challenge. Think about traditional photography for a second. When a brand shoots their catalog, what do? They don't just take random photos. They create a shot list. They define their lighting setup once. They use the same backdrop. They position products the same way. They maintain style consistency across everything. That's what we need to recreate with AI. When you're being hyper-specific with AI, when you want that exact shade of blue in the background, that precise angle, that specific lighting setup, the basic prompts fall apart. You end up in this loop, not quite right. Go back to the AI chat, adjust the prompt, generate again, still not perfect. Repeat 20 times. It's exhausting. And if you're doing this for dozens of products, it's basically impossible to keep everything consistent. Strategy 1, visual research. Stop starting from scratch every time. Go to Pinterest. Find the exact style you want, not just one image. Find 10 to 15 images that capture your brand aesthetic. Save them all. Now you have a visual reference library, but we're not just using these as inspiration. You're analyzing them technically. What's the lighting setup? Hard shadows or soft? What's the background treatment? What angle are products shot from? What's the color temperature? Document everything. Strategy 2, reverse engineer with AI. Here's something most people don't do. Before you even touch Nano Banana, use a different AI to analyze your Pinterest board. Upload those reference images to ChatGPT or Claude. Ask it to identify the common elements, the lighting style, the composition, the color palette, the mood. It'll break down what makes those images work. Then ask it to write you a prompt formula based on that analysis. Suddenly you're not guessing. You have a tested formula that captures exactly what you want. Instead of trying to describe it in words, let AI reverse engineer it for you. Now you have a detailed prompt based on a real image you know works. You're building a prompt database without writing them yourself. Strategy 3, the template method. This one's critical. Create your complete scene first with a placeholder watch visible. Get the entire composition perfect. Then swap products. Let's walk through a real example. Luxury watch collection launching 8 new models. First, create the full template with a generic placeholder watch. Remove all specific watch details and replace with simple generic placeholder watch while keeping everything else exactly identical. Perfect it. This is your investment. You can see the whole composition. You know the lighting works. The background gradient is right. The reflection looks good. Now for each of your 8 watch models, use this swap prompt. Same gradient, same lighting, same reflection, same position. Only the watch design changes. They look like they were shot in the same session with the same setup by the same photographer. That's the template method. Build the scene once, validate it works, then swap products systematically. Multiple use cases. This works across any type of content you need to create at scale. Fashion lookbook. Build your model template once. Beach setting. Golden hour lighting, specific pose. Lock it. Then swap clothing for each piece in your collection. 20 pieces, perfect consistency. Restaurant menu, create your overhead food photography template. White plate on dark slate, natural window light from top left, specific styling approach. Lock it. Corporate headshots. Build your team photo template. Gray background, even lighting, professional setup. Lock it. Change only the person description for each employee. But why do this extra step? Remember, we're talking about creating images at scale. We want consistency. While you can use Gemini and keep chatting back and forth to refine your result until it's perfect, that's not repeatable. We ran the exact same prompt over and over again. Sometimes it created something usable, but 90% of the time, we got completely different results. In comparison, when we ran the same prompt but used the placeholder image method, creating the full scene first, then swapping products, we got consistent results every single time. And when you want to render hundreds of images, that consistency is everything. You can't manually regenerate and hope for the best 300 times. You need a system that works reliably. That's why the two-step approach matters. It's not about making things complicated. It's about making things repeatable at production scale. Build your brand aesthetic template first, color palette locked, composition style defined, lighting approach consistent, then place different subjects into that aesthetic for each post. The pattern is always the same. Build your environment template, perfect it, lock it, then place your variables into that prepared system. Structured prompts with Bria Fibo. Everything I just showed you helps, but honestly, it's still a lot of manual work. You're still copying prompts, adjusting them, testing, refining. A platform called Fall just released something called Bria Fibo, and this changes everything for professional work. Here's how it works. You give it a basic prompt. It generates the image. It also generates a complete structured prompt that describes everything in that image. And I'm not talking about a basic description. I'm talking about a JSON file that breaks down the background, every object, the lighting direction, the shadows, the color scheme, the camera angle, the composition, everything. Fibo production workflow. Start with hero shot template. Build it in Fibo. Get your first watch perfect. Initial prompt. Luxury automatic watch on polished black marble, side lighting creating dramatic highlights. Fibo generates image and structured prompt. You refine, position watch more centered, adjust lighting 15 degrees more from left, increase shadow intensity, add subtle reflection on marble. Each refinement updates specific elements in the structured prompt. After 5 iterations, it's perfect. Save that complete structured prompt as your Watch Hero template. And here's why this matters for scale. Once you have that perfect structured prompt for one product, you've basically created a reusable template. You can swap out just the product details while keeping the entire scene, lighting, and style identical. No more hoping the AI understands consistency. You're defining it programmatically. Perfect consistency because everything except the watch details came from your locked template. The Fibo images themselves aren't amazing quality. That's not the point. They're visual references that help you build reusable prompts with precise control. It's also not replacing the template method. It's an addition that gives you flexibility. Sometimes you need 100% identical images. Corporate headshots, product catalogs, food menus, those need the strict template approach we just covered. But sometimes you want the same mood, the same style, the same vibe, without being that strict. Lifestyle images, for example, behind-the-scenes content, brand storytelling shots. That's where Fibo's structured prompts shine without the template image. Here's my actual workflow. I find a great reference on Pinterest that captures the mood I want. I upload it to Fibo and let it write the structured prompt breaking down every element. Then I adjust, change the background color, shift the angle, refine the lighting description, get the prompt exactly how I want it. Now I have a choice. If I need perfect reproduction, same background, same lighting, same everything, I create the template image first, then swap products. That's the strict mode. If I want the mood and style, but with some creative freedom, I skip the template image entirely. I just use the structured prompt directly with different subjects. The images feel cohesive, same aesthetic, same atmosphere, but they're not identical copies. There's variation, there's life. Corporate and product work. Use template images for exact matches. Lifestyle and brand content. Use structured prompts for consistent mood with natural variation. 2 modes. Same system. Choose based on what your project needs. Centralizing your entire workflow. You now know how to create consistent images, templates, structured prompts, the two-step method. But once you're generating images at scale, things break down fast. You're juggling disconnected tools: Pinterest for inspiration, Gemini for generation, Google Drive for storage, desktop folders for prompts, spreadsheets for tracking feedback. Which template created this image? Which version got approved? Where's that reference? It becomes chaos. AI needs iterations. You need to track everything in one connected place. Now, if you really want to take this to the next level, this is where Airtable comes in. Think of it as your command center where everything finally lives in one place instead of scattered across a dozen different tools. Your product catalog with all the specs. Your proven templates that actually work. Every image you generate linked back to the product and template that created it. Your Pinterest inspiration organized by mood and style. Feedback and approval status right there with each image. Even your social calendar showing what posts when. You don't need to render 300,000 images like we have. Even at 50 images, having a system prevents chaos and speeds up your workflow. The complete setup, how to structure it, connect the automation, and plan your workflow is linked in the description. Bye.